In our last video, we took the RZR that we rented from Sedona ATV Rentals and we ran the Outlaw and Diamondback Gulch Trail. These are much more beginner-friendly trails, and if you haven't seen the video yet, you can see it by clicking in the upper corner. In today's video, we are going to be cranking the difficulty up a bit and going over to the Broken Arrow Trail. This is located on the other side of town, so if you're going to be going from one to the other, you're going to be taking a nice little drive past Sedona ATV Rentals and then through town. Be sure to be careful when navigating all of the traffic circles because evidently people have not quite figured them out just yet. You're going to be hopping on 179 North and staying on it for just over a mile. Eventually, you will start to see signs for Morgan Road, and this is where we're going to be turning left. Another good indicator of when you need to turn is the large metal Roadrunner sculpture in the middle of the traffic circle. Please note that as soon as you turn onto Morgan Road, you are now going to be in a residential area, so please drive slow and be respectful to the residents. The Broken Arrow Trail is rated double black diamond, so this is not exactly beginner friendly. They even made this man-made speed bump to keep regular passenger cars out. We'll be starting off our trip to Broken Arrow by heading over to Submarine Rock. This is a really cool elevated rock formation that looks like the top half of a submarine sticking up out of the ground. Something that's very important to know is that this is a very popular trail, and it is one of Pink Jeep's most popular tours, so there is a good chance you can encounter traffic. The good thing is that there are turnouts about every 50 feet, so you can pull over and let them go by. This trail does seem to get incrementally harder, so if you come to an obstacle and it is too challenging for you, it's probably best to turn back. There are definitely going to be a couple of spots that require you to put the RZR into 4 low. After about 1 mile, you will be coming to a junction, and if you want to go to Submarine Rock, you're going to go left here. But just know that if you plan on driving up to the top, it can get a little bit tricky.
I think that if you're going to do this, it's really important to know your skill level. I think that was a little bit above my skill level. So we parked it over there and we're just gonna walk up.
These deep ruts have been carved out by all of the Jeep tours that have come through over the years. Not only are the ruts a little bit wider than the RZR, but the rock is almost polished as well, so it's really hard to get traction. To truly get the full magic of Submarine Rock, you really do need to climb all the way up to the top. From up there, you will get a pretty amazing 360-degree view. After soaking in the view for a little bit, it was time to head back down to the RZR. On the way down, we did see a Jeep climbing up, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. With Submarine Rock in the rearview mirror, it was time to continue on along our way. We weren't sure exactly how long it was going to take us to get through the route because the last time we did it, we were in a pink Jeep. As much fun as that was, I would say that if you have some off-roading skills, it is really fun to do this for yourself. One of the things that makes Broken Arrow so tricky, aside from some of these really steep and slippery climbs, is all of the blind corners. We must have been pretty lucky on the day that we went because I was waiting for a pink Jeep to come around the corner at any point. Eventually you will be coming to a junction. Going left will take you to Chicken Point, and even though we didn't get to go there on this trip, we did get to go in the pink Jeep. There will be some climbs to get you up to Chicken Point, but if I recall, there wasn't anything too strenuous. Going all the way to the end of the road will take you to yet another gorgeous overlook. You may be wondering where Chicken Point gets its name from. Well, the Jeep Tours used to be able to drive all the way to the very end of the road and do a U-turn around the rock that you see the people standing on. This put the Jeep's tires on the very edge of the cliff, and it definitely brought out the chicken in some people. Even though we skipped Chicken Point in the RZR, we still had plenty of challenging terrain ahead of us. The area that we're heading to now is known as the Jeep Playground, and it's packed full of obstacles that will test even the strongest of off-roaders. The first stop along the way is Mushroom Rock, which is that little rock that you see sticking up off in the distance. I know that I keep talking about photo ops, like Sedona isn't one massive photo op, but you get some pretty spectacular views from Mushroom Rock. As I said before, the difficulty increases incrementally, but at this point we are starting to head up towards the hardest parts of the trail. As much as we tried to do justice to how sketchy some of these obstacles were, they just didn't really come across in the video. For some reason in the video, this climb came across almost like a small speed bump, but in the moment it almost felt like the RZR was going straight up. I attempted it once in 4 high and didn't make it, but as soon as I put it into 4 low, it crawled right up. We are now following the exact route that the pink Jeeps take on their tour, and I knew that there were a couple of pretty sizable drops coming up ahead. But before we get to them, check out some of these rock formations. For this section, you'll be pulling up onto this large slab and then just following the tire marks around because they will line you up for this big drop. This is another one that for some reason didn't seem to translate on the video, but these little drop-offs that I'm going over right now are pretty exciting. I was definitely keeping my eyes on the rearview mirror because I didn't want to obstruct any of the tours that were coming through. And as soon as I got to the bottom of the hill, I spotted one not too far behind us, so I pulled over and let them through. This is the hill that we just came down from another angle. One thing that was really cool was there was a ton of trail courtesy out here. I didn't know if the pink Jeep drivers would be annoyed that we were on their turf, but they were actually really cool. We actually talked to the driver that you just saw a second ago for quite a while. We asked him about one of the most tricky obstacles on this course, which is the Devil's Staircase, and he weighed in with his opinion on it. He told us that the pink Jeep drivers do go through a pretty extensive training program for that obstacle alone. With that knowledge in mind, we ended up not doing it, but here are some pictures of the Jeeps going after it. In retrospect, I think that between my skills and the abilities of the RZR, we could have done it. But I just figured that we had had such a fun day in the RZR and there was no use pushing it. If you decide not to do the Devil's Staircase, you will have to turn around and go back the way that you came. This means that you will have to go back up that steep hill, but I must say, the RZR is an absolute beast and it made it up with no problems. Once you get back to the main trail, it should be pretty easy. The only obstacles that you may encounter are other vehicles. The other thing that you may need to watch out for along the way are hikers. We didn't see any on this road, but there were a couple hiking up at the Jeep Playground. They were really cool and they ended up taking a couple pictures for us. We would love to send a huge thank you out to Sedona ATV Rentals. I think that aside from being on foot and doing some of our favorite hiking trails like Cathedral Rock, this is our new favorite way to get around town. And if you can't get enough of these machines, like I know that I can't, you should check out their other location in Munns Park. Even though it's not that far away, it is a completely different style of driving because you'll be making your way through narrow, windy forest roads. I will say that after taking on most of what the Broken Arrow Trail had to offer, the Sedona traffic circles seemed like much less of an obstacle. And before we knew it, our ride in this gorgeous razor had sadly come to an end. There was one more pro tip when renting from Sedona ATV Rentals. Don't forget to take the green poker chip in and give it to the person at the counter. This proves that you brought it back in one piece and it releases your deposit back to you. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know suggestions for future videos that you would like to see on the channel. And for all the information about renting razors in Sedona and other awesome adventures, head on over to livethatadventure.com.